we're moving from Canada into India, and I think we're in Jagannath Puri, if I'm right, to a very, very proud father and a very proud husband, and I'm sure a very proud son of Srila Gurudev. It's Ajay Krishna Prabhu, who is also known as Ajay Krishna Prabhu pilot in brackets, because he's a pilot. He's flown Srila Gurudev around a couple of times whilst being a pilot. I'm just gonna give me 1 second so I get this right. So Ajay Krishna Prabhu met the devotees around 1992 and took Harinam from Srila Gurudev in 93. And then the next year in 94, he took initiation, Diksha. Srila Gurudev stayed in their house, as Nonadidi said, that many of times, and spent many precious moments with them as a family. And Ajay Krishna Prabhu used to go and pick up Srila Gurudev from the airport and bring him home and take him there. And so Ajay Krishna Prabhu has also done some dictations on the small Hindi book, the Vasha Rishi, in 1996. But not only this, that he also currently hosts the Indian version of Gurudev Memories for India and the Hindi-speaking devotees, and he does a fantastic job. And it's just with great pleasure and honor, I would like to invite you to come and share some memories of Srila Gurudev with us. So with great honor, I would like to introduce our next speaker and our final speaker for today, Sriman Ajay Krishna Prabhu from Jagannath Puri. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Didi. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo. First of all, I'd like to offer my humble Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of my Gurudev, Nitlila Pravish Om Vishnu Pad Astota Sar Srimad Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayana Gosvami Maharaji. And then today is a very auspicious day. It's a disappearance day of 3 Mahabhagavats. So I'd like to offer my Dandavat Pranams to them too. Nitlila Pravish Om Vishnu Pada Astota Sar Srimad Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj and Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Sri Rasamrita Prabhu. Also, I would like to offer my Dandavat Pranams to Yashodananda Prabhu and Didi, who is hosting this program, and also to all the devotees who are listening and who are going to listen later. I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all of you. And thank you so much for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to remember Gurudev, to purify myself. I hope you can hear me clearly.
We can.
Okay. So Gurudev touched all of his disciples' life in a very, very beautiful way. And he mesmerized all his disciples actually. I just remember a small story when I was young. You also must have heard it, like Pied Piper of Hamelin. There was this guy who was called, there were rats everywhere, and he played his flute, and the moment he started playing his flute, all the rats came behind him, and he took them to where he wanted to take them. I see Gurudev just like that. He came into all of our lives, and he started playing his flute. He started saying his Harikatha. He started doing his beautiful dealings, and he started loving us in very, very simple and sweet ways, that he captured our hearts, and we became mad with his love, and we ran after him, all of us, from wherever we were, and we were just always wanting to see him, to meet him. So it has been a wonderful journey with him. My first meeting with Gurudev around 92 probably was in New Delhi. I came to Gurudev because of my uncle, Kashyap Prabhu, if you remember. He is known as Vinod Bihari Prabhu. And he was a very good kirtaniya. He used to sing really, really loud, and very, very, very strong kirtan he used to do. So he took me to Gurudev, to one of the devotees' house in Delhi, Buddhi Raja Prabhuji, our Vishnu Prabhu's house. So I did not know anything. He said, today our Gurudev is coming. So we are going to meet him. I said, okay, let's go. No, usually we used to do some programs with him. So we used to arrive early for programs. And then we would do kirtan before the programs, and then sometimes Ramchandra Prabhu will speak. It used to be like this. But this time Gurudeva was coming. So we went early, we did some kirtans, and then it was time for him to arrive in the hall. And when I first saw him, he was like so effulgent and looked so simple that I thought somebody from other world is walking into the hall. And everybody offered Dandavat pranams from wherever they were. All this was very new to me. I never seen a person like this or an environment like this where people are devoted like this. And then he sat down. I also offered my pranam. And when he started to speak, everybody put their recorders in front of his mouth. So I was just wondering why they are doing like this. What is he going to speak that they want to keep it forever? Anyways, he spoke. I don't remember much of what he spoke, but one thing I remember clearly. He was talking about bhakti and then about mukti. He was saying, what is mukti? Mukti is nothing. And suddenly he was talking about mukti. He became very enthusiastic, and he came into Avesh and he said, Mukti, who wants mukti? Raise your hands now. I'm going to give you mukti right now. So I was very surprised to hear this statement. I had read few scriptures before. I was interested from my childhood. So I had read some of the Puranas and I knew a little bit about mukti. And I always thought mukti is the ultimate goal of human life. It's like moksha, or it's nirvana. There's nothing more beyond that. And like 4 purushartha, dharma, artha, kam, moksha. So moksha is the ultimate thing. And here I see this saint who is ready to give mukti in 1 second. So I was really, really amazed, and he's just giving in his talks without anything. I had already read about mukti being so difficult, and a lot of rishis had to work for like 60,000 years. They had to do tapasya, they had to follow strict principles, and then they would arrive at this level of mukti. And Maharaja was saying, I'm going to give you right away. Anybody wants to raise your hands? So I thought I should raise my hand because it is such a difficult thing to get, and he's giving straight away right like this. So I thought of raising my hands, but I looked around and nobody was raising their hands, and I was surprised. I said, why? Nobody wants mukti. He's going to give straight away. Without any work, without any tapasya, without anything he's giving. But then I thought that why these people are not asking, maybe he has something more to give. That's why nobody's raising their hands. So I kind of kept quiet, and the session went on. So I remember this, and it remained in my heart, this impression that how powerful he spoke, and it's not that he just spoke out suddenly and then he just continued his katha. He waited for some time. What he spoke, he really meant it. He said, anybody wants mukti, raise your hand. And he waited for somebody to raise the hand. Everything was going in my heart. Maybe he was speaking only for me, probably. So that was his caliber, which I saw very first time. And so many things happened in between. I don't know how much time I have, so I'll describe my last meeting with him. This was my first meeting, and I'll describe my last meeting, and then I will speak about something which happened in between. So in 2010, he was sick. He was doing his sick pastimes, and he was in Delhi Mutt. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, we all see that Janma karma chami divyam. Lord Krishna says that my birth and my dealings and all my things are transcendental. They are not like what we have. The same thing is true for Gurudeva also. His birth, his dealings, and his going from this world, they're all transcendental, and they're completely under his own control. For us, it is not like this. For us, we are born we are pushed into the material world. We are, I would say, rather kicked into the material world, depending on our karmas, which we gather in our previous lives. And then we are always controlled by 3 material modes all our life. And then our death arrives, that is also forced on us. We have no choice in that matter. But I seen in life of Gurudev, especially his leaving the world, was totally by his own choice and his own wanting. It is totally under his own control. And he displayed it, and he spoke to me personally about it. So that last parikrama which he did, where so many devotees had come from all over the world, there was a talk going on that Gurudev in some lectures or meetings has told that he's going to leave his body on the tithi of his Guru Bhai, Vaman Maharaj. And the tithi was coming in Kartik, so everybody was kind of very worried and anticipating that Maharaj might leave his body now and he might leave us. So we were all very worried, and everybody was doing kirtan whole night. They were sitting outside in the lawn, and all the Maharajas were inside, and they were also sitting. They stayed awake whole night. And next morning we heard that Gurudev was still with us, and we were also happy. And last day he gave a very nice darshan, and he gave his last order to most of the people that 3 P's should follow: parikrama, then publication, and one more thing he said. So all these 3 things should never go away. So that instruction he gave, and after that I met him. Then he came to New Delhi, and he was in the Delhi Mutt, and there it was very, very difficult to meet him. We used to come to the Mutt in the top floor, and we used to wait for hours, sit there to get a glimpse of him, maybe talk to him a little bit. But many days we'll just go by like this. We'll do some kirtan outside and go back home. Our home was quite far also from Delhi. It used to take about an hour or hour and 20 minutes. So we did this many, many times, and we did not get the darshan. And sometimes Madhav Maharaj will open a door like 2 inches, and he say, "Oh, look, Maharaj is sitting there, you can have darshan." And then maybe 50 people will start peeping to the door to get a glimpse of him. So we were having we were having a lot of separation in our heart, and we were feeling really, really painful that how to meet Gurudev, how to have his darshan. We don't know when he's going to leave us and what we should do. So it was very, very disturbing, and sort of we were longing for it. Then one day Gurudev arranged a beautiful leela. See how he does. He knows everybody's heart. He knows each of his disciples' heart, what they are thinking, what they want, what they are longing, what their desires are. So Brajnath Prabhu just called. He said, "Prabhuji, Maharaj wants to go to Jagannath Puri, and we want to make his tickets, but we are not getting his ticket. You are a pilot, so can you do something?" I thought in my heart that I cannot do anything because I'm a pilot. I don't know anything about ticketing or booking tickets or anything. So I knew very well that I cannot do anything. But I said, "Yes, Prabhuji, I will try something. Maybe I can do something." I said like this. And then I opened my laptop and I started looking for tickets for Maharaj, which dates he said. So all the flights were booked. I think only Air India was going that time. It was totally booked. And we thought what to do. Then we suddenly saw there were 2 or 3 seats empty in business class. So I thought we should buy these tickets for Gurudev. They are the only seats available, and they might also get very soon. I never bought an airline ticket in my life because being a pilot, I always travel free. This was probably the first ticket I had to buy, and that's for Gurudev. And the thought came that maybe this is Gurudev's last flight, probably. So we should buy it nicely and do the service. So we bought the tickets, and we told Brajnath Prabhu that we got the tickets. He said, "Okay." So he called us to give the tickets. And it was not the tickets, actually, it was Gurudev's desire to give us darshan. That's what I saw and realized. And he gave such beautiful darshans. He talked to us one-to-one. My wife Nona was also there with me. And all our longing became very shant, very quiet. So we went to give him, and the door which used to open only 2-3 inches, today opened like 6 feet wide, full open. And we were so happy, and we went inside. Maharaj was there, and he said, and after a few minutes or a few seconds probably, everybody was gone. I saw Madhav Maharaj went away somewhere, and nobody was with Gurudev. We were alone, me and Nona. So we got total one-to-one to talk to him. So I just said, "Gurudev, we were so scared in Parikrama. We thought that you're going to leave us, and all of us were really, really scared." So Gurudev told me something which you'll be amazed to hear what he said. And my wife was also there. He said, "That actually I wanted to go that day, but these guys, they stopped me. So I was like taken aback. I said, what? He wanted to go by his own will on that day as everybody was talking. And he said, these people stopped me. This also shows Gurudev's love for his devotees. He had planned his departure from this world. And when he had planned, he must have also communicated with his god brothers in the other world, like Vaman Maharaji and his Gurudev, Pujapat Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Goswami Maharaji. And they must be waiting for him. There must be a really nice party, may welcome party for him to go there. But he changed his plan. For what? For his own dear disciples. I was told that Madhav Maharaj and Deep Maharaj were holding his hand and they were chanting nursing mantra the whole night. And Gurudev said, I wanted to go, but these people didn't let me go. So he stayed back. So how merciful he is on his disciples that he changed his own decision to live in that fashion in the auspicious month of Kartik. And he stayed back with all of us. And then very quietly in December 29, 2010, when nobody was expecting anything, there was no talk or anything. And the Tithi arrived, people had almost forgotten everything. And the same very place where I'm sitting, upstairs, I'm sitting just under his room. So he quietly left this world on that Tithi. So what I'm trying to say here is, they are in full control of how they want to go, how they want to deal in this world, how they want to take birth. It is in their hands, like it is in hands of Krishna himself. So that much power he has. We as disciples sometimes don't understand this. We think maybe he's like us, he's eating, he's brushing his teeth, he's doing what we are doing. But it is not like this. He's a Mukt Purush, Mukt Mahatma from the very beginning. He came to deliver us only. So this is the first thing he said. And another second amazing thing he said, so we were just very worried about his health, and he was so lean and thin that time. So I just asked, like I would ask my father. I said, Gurudeva, how are you feeling? Are you feeling okay, or it's painful, or how do you feel? Then Maharaj told such something which will also take you by surprise. He said, Beta, son, these problems of old age, I cannot describe what problems come. He didn't say anything about his own self, but he was talking about us and about the whole world. That this old age problems cannot be described by words, that problems they come. But I give both of you my blessings that you will never have to go through these problems. So our tears started flowing from our eyes, both of us. We were just looking at him. He said, what Ashirwad is giving, and for what? We did not do any service, any proper service to him. We did not even surrender him that what we should have actually surrendered. It was not even full complete, only small connection with him, and he's giving us this Ashirwad, or he's giving us this blessings that this old age problem will not touch you. So how merciful he was. I mean, for nothing which we are doing, he's giving us such big blessings. That too at a time when he himself is showing his leela of not being healthy and being so lean and thin. At that stage also he's doing so much. So when I got this news, Rana Prabhu called me on 29 December 2010 that Maharaja left us. It was morning 4 o'clock. So that was the time that like earth moved below our legs, and I immediately got up and went for a flight ticket to Calcutta to be with him. And I did not think about anything. When we landed in Calcutta, I was worried, how will I go there? Where will I find taxis? But you'll be amazed that what kind of environment was at the Calcutta airport. I was seeing only devotees there, full. People with Harinam Mala, people with coming all over the world. And I was worried, how will we go? Where will we find a taxi? Now, usually we would arrange a taxi before going to the airport. But this time I had done nothing. I came out and I saw there were 2-3 buses there. I said, what? And the buses are full. We had to wait for the next bus to come to go to Navadvip. Everything was arranged, and there was a flood of devotees at the airport. So that shows how much disciples were devoted to him, and everybody wanted to come. And when he went to Navadvip, oh my God, it was like an ocean of devotees. Everywhere you'll see heads and heads. And when Samadhi was there, I wanted to do some digging, but I could not even reach there close by. I had to watch from far off. So that was his, disciples were like mad to go anyhow. People borrowed money to buy tickets and come there to see him for his last Samadhi. So that was our Gurudev. And now I'll speak something. And one more thing I want to say here, that when he went from this place, Jagannath Puri, where he entered into the eternal pastimes of Lord Krishna, he was taken from here in the car to Navadip. And this was described by Pujapad Siddhanti Maharaji. He said, we took him and we put him, his divine clever in Padmasana, and we held him on our lap. Then he explained why he held him in Padmasana. He said, because we take them in Padmasana because then it becomes very difficult, because in medical terms, I think it's called rigorous mortis or something. It sets in after 2-3 hours and the body becomes stiff. Then you cannot fold the legs and put them in Samadhi properly. That's what he was saying. But in case of Gurudev, it wasn't like this, like a normal human being. He went, they took him in Padmasana, but whole night he stayed in the temple and his divine body was straight flat again. And then next day morning, we took him in Padmasana to all over Navadip Dham, and we took him to the river Ganges and so many places. And then again, his body was really, really soft. Even Dandi Maharaji, Pujapad Dandi Maharaj also talking about it, because he's a scientist himself. He says, I know it's a medical fact that nobody more than 2-3 hours, their body can remain soft like this. But Gurudev's body was soft for 2 days. So this shows that even his physical body is transcendental. It's fully transcendental. It's not like us. It is just looking to us like us. And if we realize only this fact, that Gurudev's body is transcendental fully and he himself is fully transcendental, we will have so many realizations. So this was my last meeting, and I described my first meeting. Now, how I came into contact with Gurudev was in '92. I was a pilot with Indian Air Force, and I was posted in Northeast. I would come sometimes to Delhi, and there my uncle used to live, Kashyapji or Vinod Bihari Prabhu. I would go to his house, and when I go to his house environment was totally different from what I was having in my place in Northeast of India. They had a beautiful Thakurji. He would do Mangal Aarti and evening Aarti. Every day he would do Path. He would open Gita and speak some shloks. And every day there would be so many nice things. So I was really, really very pulled by this environment. And then he was involved in a program called Shraddha Kutir, which was run by Ramchandra Prabhu and Kashyapji together. Every week they would organize programs in people's houses and do a kirtan and a katha and prasad. So I was very much attracted by that. And then I met Gurudev, which I already described. So like this, I felt when I went back to Assam, I felt that, oh, I should be in that place. What am I doing here? And that consciousness would last me a few days there. Like I would feel really good for 2 or 3 days. But after that, I would become my normal self once again. And I would really miss that environment. So desire came that I should somehow go to these kind of people. And by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, I could leave that job of Air Force, which is not very easy. And I came to Delhi, straight away to Kashyapji's house. I did not go to my own house, which was in Gujarat, my parents' place, and I started living with him. I stayed with him for 1.5 years, and that 1.5 years was such a beautiful time of my life. We would go to Mathura to meet Gurudev almost every week or sometimes twice a week. And there, Gurudev was very, very hidden gem. He would have only like 5 people, 10 people, or 30 people. Only Mathuravasis and few of us, Ramchandra Prabhu and some of probably New Spawn devotees, they would come and he would say such sweet Harikatha. So that was so much attractive. And then he had done many Bhagavad Kathas also in Delhi during that time. We had organized a lot of bus tours with Kashyapji to various places in Dham. And then I did not want to get married at all that time. And we had one more friend, Kashyapji's friend. Actually, he was his guard. He had a big business and there was a big gentleman and he was his guard. But later he became his real friend because he was singing very nicely. He used to do a lot of good kirtans. So they were like good friends all the time then. And he introduced him also to, his name was Damodar Prabhu. I don't know if you guys know him. Damodar Prabhu, he was like big fat guy. 6 feet tall. So he introduced him, and he also got involved with Gurudev. And one day he came to our house and he said that I'm going to Gurudev in Mathura and I'm going to live there forever. So we were taken aback. I said, you have two small boys with you. His kids must be maybe 10 years old. Two boys he had. He said, no, I've realized there's nothing in life. And all the Shastras are saying same thing. Gurudev is saying same thing. And I'm going. I just want to inform you before I go. So me and my uncle, we said, you think very carefully. If you're going, then be very strong. But if you want, you can go later also. He was very determined and he went. And later his name was, he got sannyas and he was PureBhakti.Tv Yati Maharaj. Yeah, he then established his mutt in Rajasthan, in Narayanpur, and he did 108 Harikatha. So that was, so seeing all this in the society, everybody thought that Kashyapji is sending people to Gurudev and he's spoiling young kids like me. I was young that time, maybe 24 years old. And his name became really bad in our society. And people also started saying that he's protecting his own kids. Kashyapji has two sons, which are a little bit younger to me, Akash and Manish, few years younger. So everybody started saying that he's protecting his own son and he's sending everybody else to Gurudev and he's spoiling everybody's homes. Actually, he wasn't doing anything like this. It was Gurudev's attraction where people were pulled, and I was also pulled. And they were trying to get me married, and I said, no, I don't want to get married at all. And like Gurudev was pulling. But everybody started talking like this about him, and they were saying next number is mine. So the talk went everywhere that he's going to send him also. So he was getting really bad name, and I felt really bad for him because he was actually helping me to reach Gurudev and to enter Bhakti. And he's getting bad name for that. So I felt really bad. And one day Kashyapji called me and he said, what do you think of yourself? You are a very big devotee. You don't want to get married? You think you have big relation and you have become so big? So that day I really felt very bad. And I said, he's like my Shiksha Guru who's shown me the way to Gurudev. So I totally surrendered to in his lotus feet. I said, today I will do only what he says. If he wants to get me married, I will go against my wishes and I'll get married. So he said, you should get married. So I said, okay, I will get married. You do whatever you want to do. And he was very influential in the society. So he found few girls and he took me there. He said, come with me. I said, okay, let's go. And he said, do you like? I said, I told you already, whatever you do is acceptable to me. It doesn't matter who the girl is and whatever it is. So he just chose one girl and he said, okay, you're getting your engagement. So I sat there for engagement, but I had no feelings or anything at all. I just wanted to follow his orders and save his name, that his name should not be spoiled. So we exchanged few gifts and I sat there and the ceremony got over. And then the time came for Brajmandal Parikrama. See how Gurudev knows your heart, what you're going through. Each person he knows. So I went, and that time I did not have a job. I just quit Air Force job and I did working on my private civil license, commercial pilot license. So I was totally free. Before that, I had done parikrama in parts and pieces, but this time I thought I would do the whole parikrama. It was 1996. So I went to the Gurudev and offered my Dandavat Pranam. I said, Maharaji, I want to do whole parikrama this time. He was very happy. He said, oh, very good, welcome. Then I said, Maharaji, I want to do whole parikrama. And so I would like to do some service also. Please tell me what to do because I'm going to stay for the whole month. He said, okay, I'll give you service. So I was very happy that he's going to give me some service. He said, you do prasad seva. So I got a little bit worried because I thought I had to cook food and I have never cooked in my life ever. I can't do anything. I can't make anything. Maybe I can just boil water and maybe make some tea or something. That's it. So I got a little jittery, and when he said you should have to do prasad seva, he said, hey, do you understand what I'm saying? I said, yes, Maharaj, I understand. I will do prasad seva, I will help in the kitchen and I will help other devotees. He said, no, prasad seva doesn't mean this. Prasad seva means whatever prasad is made, you honor it, you eat prasad. So I sort of got amazed. I said, what? Eat prasad is a seva? It is just like having prasad. So Maharaj said, yes, that is the prasad seva you have to do. That means he gave me actually no seva. I have prasad, that's what he told me. But then later I realized prasad seva is also big seva if you do with proper mood. If you have proper mood, then only Prasad Seva can give you bhakti. It is so powerful because when you understand what Prasad is and how much power it has. So that was it. And then I started doing my parikrama. I was amazed to see the way the parikrama was conducted, way the Mathura Math was being conducted, how people were doing service. Gurudeva was not telling anybody to do any service. Everybody was engaged by their own desire, by their own liking, what they want to do. Somebody was cleaning the temple, somebody was cleaning the utensils, somebody was doing katha, somebody was doing kirtan. What they like to do, people are doing on their own. So smoothly, beautifully, very harmoniously. So I was very amazed to see this. One more thing I noticed in that parikrama is, like, we used to move from various places, like from Mathura, we went to Vrindavan, then we went to Govardhan, then we went to Barsana, then we went to Nandagaon. Small part, it was like moving every few days. So we had to pack up our bags, and there were 1 or 2 buses only. Most of the time we'll walk. So Gurudeva would say, okay, tomorrow 5:30 we are going to move. So I had been in defense army, and where things are quite strict. But I've never seen such compliance with Gurudeva's order, what I saw there. If he says 5:30, everybody would be 5:15, all the bags would be on the buses, people are ready to go. Nobody is late. I was surprised. I said, even in army, when we have to move and move with bag and baggage, people are generally late 5-10 minutes and somebody has to control someone. But Gurudev, nobody is controlling anybody, and people out of their own free will, they are well in time, and everybody is moving in time. So Gurudev was known for his on-time dealings all the time. And people knew this, that if you are late, he will probably be left behind. So that was how he used to conduct his parikramas. Then at that time, he used to come to Delhi in Somnath Prabhuji's house, and in Budhiraja Prabhuji's house, we used to go, and they used to do such wonderful conversations and sweet Harikathas and beautiful kirtans. So I used to really like those things so much. And I thought a desire came in my heart. Will someday I will have a house. I cannot have a house like those people had, big huge houses, but very small house also okay. But will someday Gurudev come to my house? I just had this desire like this. And after a few years only, I don't know how, I just bought a house, and Gurudev came to our house, and not only once but many times. So he is always listening to your heart and fulfilling your desire, whatever desires you have. And then when he would. Normally, when he would go to other people's house, he would stay for a few days. But when he would come to our house, generally he would stay for 5 days, 1 week, because mostly he will make a aswastha lila, like he's not well and he's going to relax. He will make like this, excuse like this, and they will stay for 6-7 days, and mostly he will relax. Not many programs. He would like to relax and rejuvenate there in our house. Sometimes sit in the front yard, sometimes backyard, sometimes on the roof. So a lot of things he did. And one thing I forgot in that parikrama. So one day he asked me in Mathura Math, hey, do you know Hindi? I said, yes, Maharaj. Can you write? I said, yes, Maharaj, I can write. Okay. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock after lunch, 3:30, I think, 3:30 or something, you come to my room. Okay, Maharaj. So I went to his room, and he sat on his bed, and I was sitting down on the mat. And he said, okay, I'm going to dictate you this about Durvasa Rishi. That time Durvasa Math was being constructed. And he said, I'm going to dictate you write. So I started writing. I did this for 2-3 days. And then one day, I went, and that time I was in the room, Gurudev's room. So now doing the same thing after 2 days, and Gurudev to my eyes, and he said, you don't get married. Okay? I started writing again. Only, and I took
turn the videos off, you should
my mantra, because this is what I have to do now. There's nothing else. So I just came out of his room after finishing the dictation, and I was engaged.
Please turn videos off to help with bandwidth.
Sorry?
We're having connection problems, so I've asked everyone to turn their video off.
Ajay Krishna, you can keep your video on, Ajay Krishna Prabhu. We just lost We lost you when you were speaking about dictating for Gurudev.
Oh, Haribol, can you hear me, Didi?
Yeah, we can hear you. We lost you when you were speaking about when you went to go meet Srila Gurudev to dictate the Durvasa Rishi.
Oh, I can't hear you very clearly, so I don't know what happened to audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Shall I exit and come back again?
No, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you very faintly, very faintly.
Oh, hold on.
Probably something wrong with the speaker. Okay, if you can hear me, it's fine. Prabhu, please stop me because I get carried away. I don't know how much time I have. There's so much to say.
So if you can repeat what you were speaking about Durvasa Rishi when you were dictating in his room.
Okay, so when he was that small booklet he published about Durvasa Rishi, so he was dictating me about that booklet, and I was sitting there. 2-3 days I did this, and one day he looked into my eyes. I was sitting down. He was on his bed, and he looked into my eyes for some time, and he said, "You don't get married." Just these words he said, only one line. And I said, "Yes, Maharaj." And I started writing again, and he started dictating again. Nothing else. That's it. So I came out. And I don't know, he gave me the power also. It was not very easy to follow because the other party, the girl's father, whom I got engaged already, he was a very prominent person, very big guy also, and well known in the society. So, but I don't know how he gave me so much strength. I immediately came out and called my uncle. I said, I cannot go ahead, continue with this engagement and marriage. He said, why? Why are you saying like this? I said, because my Gurudeva has told me. He said, oh, you are lying. Gurudeva never tells these things to anybody like this. I could not present any proof because there was nobody in the room, only Gurudeva and myself. And the door was locked. So I said, no, if you don't believe, it's your problem, but I'm not going to continue with this. I'm telling you. He said, no, you're just saying like this. You come back home after 1 year, after 1 month, sorry, after Parikrama, and then we'll see. So they didn't believe me, and I continued with my Parikrama. I went back home. I had big beard. And that 1 month was such a nourishing month for me. I can never forget. After that, my heart changed totally. And when I went home, when I saw people watching TV, I was surprised why these people are watching TV. I mean, all the time I was thinking of Krishna, and the consciousness became so pure just by mere association. And then the problem started about marriage. I said, no, I don't want to get married. I've told you already. His father came. I told him also politely. I said, I'm really, really sorry, and I shouldn't have done this, but my Gurudev's ordered. I cannot refuse. So even the girl's father did not believe me, and he thought that because I'm a little depressed, because I didn't have a job that time. So he's saying like, he said, don't worry, when you get a job, you'll be fine. I said, oh, you don't believe me? It's up to you. Then I got a job in Bombay, 1998, and I joined there. After 1 year, the girl's father came to me to ask me. I again politely refused him. I said, no, I cannot do this. My Gurudeva has told me clearly. Then I met my wife, and then she told me how we look. This thing was always at the back of my mind, and I never had any intention of marriage, but somehow we got together, and she also had previous sanskars from Holland and other places. She met Prabhu. So we were just like talking, and there was no intent of getting married, but somehow it came up to marriage. At that time I said, I refused Nona straight flatly. I said, no, I cannot get married. She was like shocked. He said, what are you doing? What are you telling me? We've been talking to each other for 2 years, and then now you're saying no. During that time, I took her to Gurudeva also in Bombay, like what she was telling me. That time we were not even married. I just went and met Gurudeva, and I introduced Nona. I said, she's my colleague. So Gurudeva gave her Ashirwad, and then that's it. And then one day when the things came to marriage, then I said, no, I said, only Gurudeva allows me and tells me that I cannot cross his order at any cost. If he gives me a different order, then I can. So I called Gurudeva one day and I said, Maharaji, I want to speak to you. There's a girl whom I'm talking to, and I want to ask you. You told me not to get married, but this is how my state is. Maharaj didn't say anything. He said, I just said, Maharaj, I want to meet you. Maharaj immediately said, oh, you come tomorrow. I never thought he'd give me an appointment so soon. He's so busy all the time. I said, he said, come on Friday, come on Saturday. He said, come tomorrow morning. So I said, okay, Maharaj. So I went next day morning with my wife. She was really, really jittery and worried. She said, oh, I don't know who this Maharaj, where did he come in between? I did not talk much about Maharaj to her. Only I said that he is my guru, but she got a shock that I cannot get married. So she was really, really scared and worried. That time I was in his top floor room, and we went in, and he told Nona that this word, like what she said, and immediately you'll be surprised how he dealt with us, like our father will do. He said, "Okay, you gotta go sit down." We sat down. He said, "How much you earn?" He asked me. He asked my wife, "Who earns more?" He asked, "Who earns more?" He said, "Maharaj is almost the same." He said, "Okay." Then he stand up. And we both stand up. Then he checked her height, that she's not taller than me. He said, "Okay, sit down. It is fine." As if a father would check a daughter-in-law for his son, he was doing the same duty for us. So beautifully, so lovingly. He did not say, "You can get married or you cannot get married." Probably Nona was, maybe she was nervous that time because he didn't say what to do. And he just straight away asked Nana, "Get two good mala." Then he got two big garlands and we exchanged garlands. He recited Ved mantras. He gave flowers to everybody. He showered on us. He said, "Okay, you are married now. From my side, you are husband and wife. And now if you want to get married for the world, you can do it." I mean, Nana was shocked, and even I was like surprised that he would do this. He immediately got us married then and there. So it is nothing great. I'm saying it. I'm just talking how Gurudeva was and how weak we are. That we are not able to follow his orders. But if you are not able to follow his orders, and we are still truthful to ourselves and our Gurudev, it is okay. Gurudev does not expect that all of his disciples will be really strong and will be able to follow his orders. But we should not be hiding things from Gurudev. Whatever condition of our heart is, we should expose and tell him, "This is my condition." He would work on that from there itself, and then he'll make it beautiful, which is already done with us. He has given us two beautiful daughters, and he is nurturing them in such beautiful ways. You'll be surprised. I have never told my daughter to do anything. Radhika, I've never preached or anything. I never told her who Guru is. I never told her what Krishna is. In fact, I never tried to influence her at all. In fact, she was involved in a band, like One Direction band, a few years back, and she was so deeply involved that all over her wall you will see only One Direction guys. That Harry, I don't know what the names were. Those boys would be there everywhere. And I would joke with her very lovingly. I said, "Radhika, these are your gurus. Where are your gurus?" So she would laugh at me. But I would never told, even my wife, she never told her to remove those pictures from there. Because she will let her be where she wants to go. In fact, my wife bought a $200 ticket 2 years in advance for their show, One Direction show. And suddenly Gurudev put all the mercy and everything changed, and she threw all those pictures, and now she has Radharani, she has Seva Kund, she has Gurudev everywhere. All her room, you will find Gurudev everywhere. So this is the power of Gurudev. We do not have any power. We cannot preach anything. We cannot even teach our children, our wife, or anybody. But if Gurudev wants, he can change the most rubbish person. He can make him very beautiful, and he can do so many wonders. So this is how he understood my heart and changed my marriage plans first time, and then he got me married to my present wife, and he made my life so beautiful, and it's been a good journey. Then I have so many memories. Probably how much time I have more?
Ajay Krishna, Prabhu, you've only got about 5 minutes left. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine. So I will tell you whatever is important. So Gurudev is always a Raman Manjari, and sometimes he would give an indication of that fact. So one day we were doing massaging him at the rooftop, and it was like little winterish, and the sun was there. Ramchandra Prabhu was there, so I was massaging his feet, and Ramchandra Prabhu was on the other feet, and he said, "Maharaj, your feet are so soft, your body is so beautiful." I said, "This is not my real body is much more beautiful than this." So we just smiled, and he indicated about his Raman Manjari form in a very subtle way. And one more thing, in Mathura, he used to go for morning walks to Dampier Nagar, the park there. So one day I was walking with him to the park. Ramchandra Prabhu was there, Madam Maharaj was there. We were returning back from the walk, and where that market is, there two young boy, one boy and one small little girl, they were walking with their school bags. They were in front of us. And then both of them looked back like this at Gurudev, and they said, "Radhe Radhe." Gurudev smiled and he said, "Radhe Radhe." And we started walking again. Then Maharaji was very serious for some time, and he smiled and he asked Ramchandra Prabhu, he was next to him, and I was a little further. He said, what do you call a person? Just by looking at him, you remember God's name. Ramchandra said, oh, he's called Mahabhagwat. He's a Uttam Vaishnav as per Jav Dharma. And Maharaja just smiled and walked away. So in these small things, he will give an indication of his Swaroop so that we have faith in him. Then he always knows your heart. How we named Radhika, she was born in Canada and I was in Toronto at that time. I called Maharaji, Maharaji, I want to say something. We have a baby. He said, oh, your daughter, you already knew. I said, yes, Maharaj. So I wanted to ask him for a name. And Nona was always very, he should not give a very long name. It should be very difficult in the school and those things. So she thought Radhika is a very nice name and we should keep Radhika. But I said, no, you cannot keep like this. Our Gurudeva has to sanction it and he has to tell me. So she was kind of very worried. So when I called Maharaji on telephone, so Maharaji said, I asked Maharaji, would you like to put some name to, give some name to
Yashodananda Prabhu?
Mm.
Oh, okay, good. I thought it was me. I thought I had.
No, it's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah.
Where is Prabhu's in Toronto, right?
No, he's in Jagannath Puri.
I had a feeling he was
Prabhu's in
somewhere else.
Jagannath Puri,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So that might be
It's a bit.
why. His connection was good up until.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gone.
He's
Maybe
gone.
he'll come back.
He'll probably just jump back on in a second.
Yeah, I think he's in the last few minutes, right?
Yeah. It's also weird seeing just my face.
Do you want me to finish the story that he was telling?
Yeah, if he doesn't come back, that'd be great.
Yeah. I'll just
That's
finish
brilliant.
it.
That's
So
brilliant.
Hold on, you can start your video, dear, because.
Oh, yeah, we don't have issue. So then Gurudeva, he said, have you thought of a name? And then my husband said, yes, we thought of Radhika. So he gave that name, he said, fine, it will be Radhika. Then for the younger daughter, when she was born, then I had more faith and I understood that even if it's a long name, it doesn't matter. It comes from Guru. So we called him. And that time he said, he didn't ask us whether we had thought about a name, because he already knew, he knows our hearts. He said, so do you want me to give the name just like that, or by the name that comes from her astrology chart? Then we said, no, you give it by the astrological chart. So he gave Bhuvan Mohini. So there was a debate. Again, it was a long name, but then I thought, in Punjabi, there's a saying that whatever Guru says, that will come true, because a guru, Sadguru has said. So that's what happened. Ajay, sorry, I finished the story.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think time is up, so.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of families offering together. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think time is up. So maybe some other day I can speak. There's so many more things to say. It's never ending. I can speak for hours and hours.
Prabhu, when Gurudev, the disappearance Leela started, I remember getting to India extremely quickly with my wife, and I'm sure you and your wife were there on the same day.
Yes, we were there on the same day. We took a flight the same day on 29 December, and we were in Navadvip, yes.
No, when he started his illness pastimes, not when he disappeared. In Delhi, I think I remember seeing you in Delhi right at the beginning.
I had, Prabhuji,
used to come so many days.
Oh,
We would come.
So the last day, the last day, Prabhuji, maybe you saw me because I had dropped Gurudev all the way inside to the last flight that he took from Delhi to, was it Bhubaneswar? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was Brajnath Prabhu and Madhav Meyer. So, because I had the airport pass, so I could drop him all the way to the end of the aircraft. Yeah.
Right.
Can you hear us, Ajay Krishna Prabhu?
Yes, I can hear you, Didi. I can hear you loud and clear now. I don't know what happened. It disconnected. The connection is poor here.
Yeah, but it lasted really well. I'm surprised actually. You did really well with it actually. Normally once someone's cut off, they like never return, but you did, so that's good. That's good. I just want to say, Ajay Krishna Prabhu will bring you back definitely, and we'll get you to share some more stories with us. You've got so many, so it'd be wonderful to bring you
Yeah,
back.
there's so many more things to say, but we can speak some other day. I know.
That's great.
Thank you for giving me opportunity, and I offer my Dandat Pranams to you and to Sriman Prabhu and to all the assembled devotees for purifying me by remembering Gurudev. And I hope that I always keep him in my mind and my life, and I'm always surrendered to him, never deviate from his lotus feet in all my life and other lives to come. And may he always shower his mercy as he's been doing all this time, and even now and all the time. My Dandat Pranams to all of you and to Gurudev. Shri Gurudev ki jai.
Thank you so much, Ajay Krishna Prabhu. It's so beautiful. Actually, it's so nice to see your version and Radhika Didi's, Nona Didi's versions. Like, it's so nice to see that and how Gurudev brought you both together to be able to serve Srila Gurudev. And you can really see that in the way that you both are, that your center is Srila Gurudev. And actually, as an inspiring Grihasta, it's wonderful to see that there are so many Grihasta devotees out there that we can inspire to be like, and you and Nona Didi are that. So just want to say thank you for that. And you know, when he speaks about prasadam seva, I was gonna ask, like, you said you could only boil water. So I'm wondering now that Nona Didi cooks for you. When you met Nona Didi, I'm sure that she provides the best prasad seva that you can.
I'm really good at it. I'm really good at prasad seva.
That's good. And the other thing that I just wanted to highlight was Srila Gurudev speaking about preaching, his three main things, and he was talking about preaching, parikram, and publications. These were his heart, and this was his heart, and you really highlighted that. And I love the fact that, you know, Gurudev would provide little hints of his swarup, you know, and who he really was, and saying that actually I am this, but you're seeing this, but actually I'm something else. So it's very, very beautiful for that. So thank you so much for coming and sharing that with us.